Hello, everyone. It is Matthew, and we are here to break down the week. It's Sunday night, and I just want to quickly outline that Forex Factory is saying that the Swissy and the Euro tomorrow have a bank holiday. New Zealand is tonight, just a simple bank holiday. Obviously, it's lower volume, but they still move. I don't think it's anything you need to be too concerned about, but if you're looking for swift action, it usually doesn't happen during a bank holiday, in my opinion. And as the week unfolds, we will be watching out for this USD red flag news. And of course, this can really push things around if there's any changes from those. So, all right, let's get right into it. Okay, so one of the hot button topics, especially for this week, is going to be the USD. Macro drivers, I always do respect macro as it does move things. And currently in the States over the weekend, and I think, in every city right now, there's some kind of a protest, whether it is peaceful or what we're seeing all over the news is not peaceful. And a lot of unfortunate situations there. But what we're witnessing is basically a country at war with itself. It's having so many issues and there's so much divisiveness, and we're seeing that in weakness in the US dollar. This pattern, we're now dropping below these support levels. We'll see what the next day or so brings us. The heat map is showing a ton of selling pressure with the blue, dropping down to the 4-hour chart here. I really would want to see some kind of a bottom, and we're not seeing it yet. It's at this pivotal moment, where anything can happen. This is the start of the week. Let's just keep an eye on it. I'm not longing anything right now, and I'm not shorting anything right now in regards to the U.S. dollar. And we will keep an eye on it as the week progresses. So that wraps up with that. The index gives us a baseline for a lot of other pairs, and obviously it is negatively correlated with the Euro USD. And let's start over by the daily chart. So a little while ago we were stuck in this triangle. It's broken out, it retested, and it's carrying off. It didn't even really slow down much, even for that daily 200 EMA. We've broken through resistance levels. I think what would happen is we're going to break off, we're going to find that resistance zone, we're going to pull back, and we're going to continue on. That is my assumption. I trade throughout that whole wave. So even if I'm wrong on that, we can find some good opportunities in the currency pairs to trade, whether it's this US dollar pair or another one. Let's move on. So the US yen, now I'm actually in a gold long because of what is happening right now, and it gapped up at open. I'm into the gold long because of the macro events, saying that this is inversely correlated, and it's strongly inversely correlated. So as gold goes up, the US dollar yen goes down. That isn't a perfect world of correlation. We're not in a perfect world. Things are currently moving um, with each other, or I don't want to say obeying, but they're not following their usual path. And you can see it on Twitter. Guys are making these comments about various other pairs that have correlation that has historical significance. So I just don't see anything yet. There's nothing wrong with, in a situation like this, if I was to throw a guess, I would say we're going long. But saying that, I would want to see, we can always find opportunities. So let's find that break. Let's wait for the flag or what have you, the retest, the Fibonacci 50% reentry, and then we're going to carry on and then find these areas along this way. So along looking left. So this chart for me has nothing. It's not on my radar right now, and I'm going to just keep an eye as we move forward. The British pound, this was an idea that I shared with the group last week, and I think what we talked about is happening. And you can see that this line was drawn a little bit ago. Let me drop down to the 1 hour. So I know that's a 1 hour chart, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of the pattern's really large. So, it really, even though it's on a 1 hour chart, it is a large pattern. It is a head and shoulders. It did break to the upside. I'm assuming we're going to retest. The heat map has thrown up a bear signal. There's lots of red showing. This, I believe, would be at least a good short and then a continuation on. But once again, we short it until we get to an area, we cover it with our stops, and then we're going to see a some sort of a signal at this neckline, because this is, in my opinion, an inverse head and shoulders, and then we can keep making trade decisions based on that. So that's what I'm looking at with the pound USD. And this shaded area was highlighting this, and that's where price is right now. And just as an I, so yeah, just keep it at this. I believe will swiftly move down on that half hour. But okay, so moving on, the Australian dollar, just a little bit of a pop of energy there from it as it came out. We broke out to the upside already. This pattern I'd already, it's the market's open and we blew right through there. So awesome that our analysis is right. I'm not a part of that trade, but we're going to now wait for the short and then potentially the long. This does not, to me, feel like a false breakout. So we will see what happens as this develops. It's a U.S. pair. U.S. Swissy is something that is, let's go back to the daily. This is good. This is a good pair that I'm looking at right now, just as illustration. But I want to see price get to these shaded areas first. Let's watch out for this whole number here. The whole number support I have listed at 95 even. And let's wait for price to get into this level. I want to see clear patterns here. No, I don't want to be. I guess there's so much subjectivity to this, but I want it to be a clear reversal. I want fully engulfing. I want long shadows or wicks, whatever you want to call them, on these candles, and then that's what I'd be looking for. So nothing yet. Things, even this, have moved too far in a direction that we can't really snag on to a trade. So let's just be patient. It's Sunday night. Let's allow the markets to find their pace, their cadence, if you will. So same thing, we've broken out, we've retested, and I believe we're just a little more upside. So let's just wait. It was a flag. It's moving on up. Everything's kind of doing everything's doing as it was discussed with the Telegram group that I run. That I moderate, I guess, is the most appropriate way of saying it. So people were asking me about this pair. It is correlated with oil, and we'll get into oil in a minute, but you can see that we're just dropping away. I think oil is at a point where it's very over bought, and a correction could be in order. But let's just wait. Yet again, a U.S. dollar pair. Let's let everything just relax. So this was a swing trade that I've been, where are we here? The weeks. It was a swing trade that I highlighted, and it's working. This was on the weekly. We were down here, and we had a beautiful rejection. I know it's a little sloppy, so let me just. So we had this little candle here, and I'll zoom in. This candle here, doji. I'd be comfortable in calling that a doji. It's right on a support line. 1, 2, 3. We've carried on, and we've presented ourselves with a shooting star. So I have another pair that I'll talk about as we move on, but this is interesting because we did break through a area of a trend line. So is this the rejection back down to support, or is this the break, rejection, retest, and we carry on again? If I was to put my money down, I think that would be the more likely scenario in this. Let's move on to a slightly better illustration. So the euro yen, you can see we're just gangbusters, just blowing through levels. So yeah, let's wait till it gets here. It's not a pair that I'm always watching, but we can easily drop a an alert line. You dropped the line, I actually just kind of got lucky and nailed that with where I dropped it. I try to be fairly accurate. We open up our alerts and we can just say resistance. And it's a question mark. I don't like to speak in definitives, and I find that on TradingView Create, it's just going to sit there, and it's going to be one of my alerts that I have. So I just find so often on TradingView that people are just so like, no, it has to do this, it's going to do this, and it's going to do that, and truly no one knows this stuff. So uh, watching the heat map as well, we have a lot of red coming in. There's nothing yet signaling to me that we're going to be uh, dropping yet. You can see that it did signal a bear, uh, and we didn't blow very far. So, we have to take these indicators, as great as this one is, with a grain of salt. And you can see that one was lined up nicely with that pullback, and you would have been looking at this area for support in that trade. So just constantly keeping an eye on these indicators. They have value. This one's beautiful, and we'll be rolling things out in the future. So, yeah, what are we doing here? This one, it's not telling me much. Um, yeah, this is a very nice candle. It's sitting right on the 38.2. And the reason I think I made this comment box is, let me show you. So I fibbed from the top to the bottom of the move. You can see I did that. If you zoom in, you can just see that price couldn't even break. It broke it, but it couldn't close. It was beaten back. Couldn't close above that 38.2 level. So, I personally like to see it a little deeper up into this area here where you have your 61.8 and your 50 fib level, which is a little tidbit. The 50 is not actually a Fibonacci level. It's just so convenient and so often used. But if you want to get real technical with your technicals. But so that is a candle. I'm not in this trade because I'm in another trade, and we're going to illustrate that next. But that's something we can look at. Heat map is showing up a bear right there, and you've got some red. It's probably a good trade, at least down to here. And in that period of time, you could quickly get to break even. It would be an aggressive move to just throw your stop up here or even into here or even just above there. I want a bit further correction, but crazier things have happened. So moving on, this is a trade that I took. And if you've ever hit my website, toss me your email. I send you some free training in a video email format, narrated video just like this. This trend line goes from here. This is May 2018. So this is going back. Now this is a weekly trend line, a weekly pattern, but you can see we have, potentially some bottoming here. But what I see now, that's a daily pattern. Let's get right in here. Let's get right in. And what we have is, this is in my training, this is a confirmation square. That's something I coined. I really did discover this in my own studies. Later went on to find some guys on the internet. I'm not the only person who's discovered this. And I never expected I was, but it was something that I didn't see anyone talking about. So I went on and talked about it, and I don't even know what anyone else calls it. So that's what I'm calling it. It is at a level where it has run up. It found that bottom, inside this potential double bottom, there was another double bottom. You can see that support growing and had a strong run up. It flagged, and then it had another strong run up. This is on a daily. This is a daily candle that just hits that trend line going back years. So that is a significant situation that we've gotten ourselves into. We are fairly close to the 200 EMA, and if you look left, we're starting to hit those areas of support and resistance, or resistance at this point, and potentially support. So I'm going to drop down. That beautiful candle we're looking at is also a beautiful engulfing candle. It is now pulled back into the 50% fib, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to explain this here. If you fib from the top to the bottom of the move, I find the 50% fib level. I'm going to just quickly do this. I find the 50% fib level right there. It has pushed through it, which is part of our trading plan anyways. And I like to enter the trade. I'm actually in this trade. I took it. My alert went off. I had the alert set, and let's see what the 1 hour is saying. But so let's see what happens. I anticipate we roll off and we head on down. And this is what I'm anticipating. My stop is above here. I anticipate we roll off and then we're going to continue this way. And in here, I see a trade. I see some good opportunity for pardon me, a risk managed trade. And if you, I don't want to look in the stack right now, but if you had your stop up and around this level, and a 2-to-1 would take you in and around here, which would be before a 200 EMA on the 4 hour, and in and around this meat of this move, you have yourselves, in my opinion, a good little trade. As this trade develops, we're going to be moving our stop down. Even if it's outside, you can see the rejection has been happening as we've been talking about this, actually. So it's posted this as we've been talking. So anyways, that's what I am in. That's a trade I took. I'm going to see what happens to it over time. Something I just explained in the Telegram group, and I like to be all time stamped, of course. So the Euro Australian dollar, right now the Australian dollar kind of popped on open. It's got some strength to it. Let's see what happens. We have 1, 2, 3 triple bottom potentially. Excuse me, lots of blue starting to come in here. Let's see what happens. Kind of a lot of opportunities, a lot of trades lining up for us this week. I'm in enough for myself right now, and I longed gold because of the weekend, and I just feel comfortable. It's Sunday night. Let's just ease into it. But here, if we look at so we've broken out of, we've run down, we've retraced back up, and this is a great opportunity to illustrate my Fibonacci, my love of Fibonacci. You can see here that, and that was a great example. I just ran that Fibonacci right for you there, and you can see. So there's the 61.8. You can see that price never closed above that line. The 50 is where I would have entered happily, and you can see that it kept running up and it never closed above that line, and that's significant to traders. As it comes up, it's making this double top. It's in a channel, but it's in the upper part of the channel, and then we have had a drop away. Now we actually dropped through the channel, and that was just a bit of a quick Fibonacci explanation there. We've dropped through this channel, and to me it looks like we're flagging, and to me it looks like we're going to have a bit more downside. That would be my next target. So let's put just a little mark so that as the week goes on, we have an idea of what we're looking at. So this one here is the pound JPY, and we have a trend line that we have broken. Now you can always curve fit anything. That's not hard to do, and you can move it around all you want and try to fit curves and stuff like that. But to me, this one is in the right spot, and you could even make the argument, just as I'm sitting here, I didn't see this in my initial analysis, but you could even make the argument for an inverse head and shoulders. So you can see that it broke the neckline there. I'll just draw it with this tool here. The neckline there, and we're carrying off. So a lot of opportunities in the market right now, which isn't a refreshing change. The last few weeks there hasn't been, in my opinion, or the last 2 weeks before last, I guess. A lot more confusion. So I had this question mark. This analysis I did a couple hours ago, and now I'm doing the video. So a lot of the things that we're talking about have been, at that point it was 4 hours ago, which is the market open. So the market was down here when I was looking at it, and I just drew these and had a question mark to say, are we in it? So this is a beautiful example of where we have to start waiting for confirmation. Now this Australian dollar is really pushed up, and actually took out my pound odd trade, which geez, watch that thing run so far. I should have at least gone to break even. I'm finding just so many of my trades are eroding these days, and I like to leave things to run, but it's making me scalp a little bit and just to try to get anything I can. And I don't like operating that way, but I'm being adaptive. So you can see that uh, the indicator's painting red. We don't have any bear yet, but the white line, which I need exact clarification on how it's calculated, but I believe it's an on-balance volume line. And so at this point, we're just going to wait. We're going to sit on our hands and see what is presented by the market. So we have hit the odd JPY. We hit the this, it's amazing to me. But looking left, 200 EMA, hitting this major line in the sand, and let's just wait to see what it does at this line. If it can't close above it, we're starting to see some red, lots of selling power, and yeah, I would say it's very much like an RSI where it's in an overbought situation, and we're just going to wait. We're just going to sit on our hands, and we're going to wait for confirmation. The odd New Zealand dollar, I think we're going to make at least a double top, but we broke the trend line. We broke this major trend line on the weekly as well. We have a piercing pattern that is a technical part of me. It's the opposite of a piercing, which is the dark cloud cover. If you look left, we never quite made it to that major line in the sand, but you can see that 1.08 level is potentially being respected. So let's drop down, let's see what it does. But I think at least we're going to make a double top. If it can't make it, it's retesting this trend line here, and we're going to drop away potentially even just to there. So you can see here the colors are starting to change with the orange. So I think there's a bit more upside, especially with this pair, as the New Zealand dollar seems to be losing lots of weakness. So crypto, I've been watching it, and we called a lot of these drops with these flags, and it's fully retraced, and that's why we have to work with targets. And this one actually worked because we worked the targets very clearly and projected the flagpole, double top, and we dropped down. We even dropped, flagged, and then dropped again, and here we are. So if anything, you got to break even on that trade, and it's fully reversed. But there's something interesting on the weekly that I'd like to point out. I'm going to delete that just so it's a little bit easier to see. Here's our weekly trend line, and if you look, this is going back to June 2019, and if you see 1, 2 beautiful hits, we've now come up to it again, and we've just been going sideways. This has not rejected at all, and it's been now 1, 2, 3 into the 4th week of it just hanging out. Now, the run up to that has been a beautiful, in my opinion, flagpole. So what we're getting is you could draw your lines there. I've already sort of been highlighting this. This is all from previous weeks and days, but there's a lot to this, and I think potentially we have more upside. And the great example of fractality in markets, you have another little run up, potentially a little flag, and we're going to carry on, but that could be the breakout. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, I'm just seeing a lot of fear in the markets, not in the S&P or the NASDAQ or the Dow or anything. It's insane. But I think gold, silver, and potentially crypto will be doing well over the next little while. And at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You're not going to short it. There's nothing there for me. That to me isn't a good enough head and shoulders pattern to drop through, and you'd want to at least get to this level here where we would start making decisions. But I think we might break to the upside, but we're just going to wait. That's all we can do. Okay, so I'm going to go, this is obviously the S&P, but this is the America's barometer, basically the largest index they have, and I see so much red here on a daily. I see a bear signal being fired, but I see flat. I got to be honest with you, I just cannot get my mind around how the markets aren't de-risking a little. Like you have a civil war basically breaking out. We have so much sadness, so much anger, so much confusion, divisiveness in the media right now, and before I get on my soapbox, I'll move on. But it's just something that does move markets and matters. And if you look at the chart, we have a form of, now it hasn't really broken it, but we have a form of resistance here, and this is our 61.8 fib level. We got a daily doji, which matters. People, like, you can see these tiny little dojis that no one's really getting excited about, but there's so much manipulation in the market, and that's not a conspiracy theory. That is, currencies are manipulated, and markets are manipulated, and it's spoken about. So the risk reward is there, but I just caution you on the decisions you make. I'm actually shorting it because of what's gone on. I took the trade, and it's a small position. I'm willing to get washed out a lot to catch that one really good move that makes up for it, and that's how I operate. So let's keep an eye on that S&P, as of course we will. Oil, going back to our US CAD as well. Oil is at a pivotal point. Now, we spoke about this in our group, and these are lines that I haven't changed. And I even got I had someone kind of chirping me on TradingView about this idea. I called the short, and then I called the long, and then I wasn't sure if we're going to move up, and then I called this flag that moved down. So not being boastful, but just the fact that we are waiting, we're watching, we're constantly evaluating, we're allowing trades to leave our zones without us being a part of it. Patience is the key here. Let's allow markets to really tell us what they're up to. So we, double bottom, we moved up, we flagged, and now we're starting to enter this area of major resistance. We have a gap resistance going. I know I jump around on my charts a lot. We have a gap here. I've highlighted it, and it doesn't show on this, but it shows on my other broker. This gap was a sizable gap right here, and then on this side, we're starting to come up to our daily 200 EMA, and then I've highlighted it more focused resistance right here. I don't see the short yet. I want to see a bit more of a run up here. I have my alert set, and we will see what this week holds because there's a lot of opportunities coming up. I took this long. I was long late Friday. I'm at break even. I'm not going to show you my other platform, but how close I was to getting stopped out on the retest of that trend line was crazy. So let's just see what happens. I might get stopped out again here, but then I can reevaluate and carry on. As I told you, I just keep getting stopped out, break even. I'm watching good trades wash away because I'm waiting for those larger risk reward scenarios. We will see no bear signal with oranges. The richer the red, the richer the colors, the more buyers and the more sellers that are. Oh, you can see it's just right in front of you. You know, sometimes the market. So let's just see what happens. I can't like why gold isn't thrusting up a little more powerfully. I don't know, but this is a machine and a system that is full of randomness, and we have to respect it. So silver was another logged idea that we had, and we broke out of this this wedge. We broke out of this channel with Head and Shoulders, and that was a trade idea that we profited from in our group. And right on, guys, right on. So let's have a look here. So looking left, I'd want to see price up to here. I'd want to see more red, and I'd want to see. But this may be, I'm going to be real corny here, but this may be silver's time to shine. So let's see what happens. Let's sit on our hands. There's a whole bunch of information for you. Hopefully you guys take notes along the way, and then you have, or pause the videos and you have time to mark up your own chart. See how I see things. It doesn't mean it's the final word. This is a constant learning adventure, especially with new indicators that we're starting to implement. And yeah, yeah, I'm excited for the future. I think we're in such a perilous place right now, all over the globe, that I'm excited that the upside is so huge, and that's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm focusing on. So, hopefully that was of value for you. Let's touch base on Wednesday. Join the Telegram group, and get some more up to the minute trade ideas. And thank you very much for watching.